6 members of Australia's parliament took the breathtaking cable car ride to the top of Masada, the famed symbol of Israel's ancient and continuing struggle for freedom and independence. Masada was one of many sites the delegation explored in a week-long trip during which they gained first-hand acquaintance of a Middle East country so often in the news. The delegation that came to Israel in February 1988 consisted of 2 senators and 4 members of parliament, accompanied by their spouses. They were guests of Israel's foreign ministry, another link in a long-standing tradition of hospitality offered by Israel to Australian legislators in order to strengthen the bonds of friendship between the 2 distant democracies. During the course of their trip, the group visited sites that any tourist hopes to see when he comes to Israel, as well as having several appointments appropriate to visitors of their special stature. The group included Mr. James Doby, Miss Kay Patterson, Mr. Richard Alston, Mr. John Sharp, Mr. Warwick Smith, and Mr. David Jull. Masada was a winter palace in the warm desert for the kings of Israel in the Second Temple period. After the temple fell to the Romans, it was the goal of a desperate retreat by a small band of zealots along with their wives and children. This small pocket of resistance was targeted for destruction by the Romans, who mounted a siege on all sides of the mountain citadel. When finally their resources were exhausted, the Jews took their own lives rather than submit to the Romans. The desert vistas are as enchanting as ever they were, even if Masada's splendor and its violence are today no more than suggestive archaeological remains. Israelis have a deep, visceral love of their landscape, and most foreign visitors quickly understand why. The Australian legislators were far better able to grasp the complexities of Israeli society after their travels, according to their spokesman, Mr. Jull.
I think there's always been a very strong relationship between Australians and the State of Israel. I think that since the early days, 40 years ago, there's been a very real bond between Australians and the people of Israel. But once again, it's coming here and experiencing it to really find out what it's all about. And I mean, after all, this place was the centre of the world, of the ancient world. And to come here and to feel and to seep up the history and to really get a greater understanding has been a very great privilege, and I think we've done that. And I mean, we don't only do it from a Jewish context either. Most Australians follow the Christian religion, so it's been an opportunity for Christians too to get a feel of it. And I guess this is the exciting part about Israel. It really was the centre of the earth. It's really here where it all started to happen. And sure, when you go around and you see places like Masada, you can get that understanding of how the Jewish people find their roots.
Mm-hmm. You've also had some talks with Prime Minister Shamir and Foreign Minister Shimon Peres. I wonder if you can tell us of any conclusions you've drawn or understandings you've had as a result of your talks with them.
Well, I think I should say first that I think one of the things that has impressed us is that the whole place isn't in flames. And perhaps sometimes if you read some newspaper reports, you understand that the strife is just about everywhere. It's not. There are only isolated pockets. Our talks with the Prime Minister were very extensive. We had more than an hour with him. And I think the thing that probably came through to our group was the fact that there had to be a long-term solution. And indeed, there was that willingness and that desire to get on with the work of making sure that that long-term solution was reached as soon as it possibly could. And I would think that people of all nations of the world would be looking towards that long-term solution as coming about just as fast as it can possibly be achieved.
Small as it is, Israel has many types of landscape. Not far from Masada lies the desert oasis of En-Gedi, always a lush surprise after the vast barrenness of the desert, and now, for some 30 years, home to kibbutz En-Gedi. The delegation was entranced by the rich and exotic variety of plant life they found.
Baobab tree comes from East Africa, and there are 7 on this kibbutz. This is the only place in Israel where these trees grow for some reason. This tree will grow 10 times larger than it is today, and it's quite beautiful in the spring when you go to sleep at night and you see it like this, and all overnight you wake up and it's just filled with leaves. The children love to climb it.
Kibbutz is one of Israel's most successful social experiments and has won great renown, though only a very small part of the population actually lives on kibbutzim. The delegation visited 4 different kibbutzim, located in various parts of the country, and each offering a somewhat different version of the updated socialist formula based on a balance of agriculture and industry.
I do wish that you'll look again and again in the direction of the mountains as we walk through, because this is what has been done in 32 years. It's truly very, very close to heaven.
Then on from Ein Gedi to another site of impressive historical significance, to a place where the desert yielded up a treasure of tremendous importance, the caves of Qumran. In the 1950s, a Bedouin shepherd chased a mountain goat into a cave. There he saw some old jugs, and in the jugs were parchment scrolls. Intrigue and greed met a burning desire on the part of Israel's archaeologists and its government to recover this unexpected testament of 2,000 years of roots in this very small corner of the globe. Israel succeeded, and today the Dead Sea Scrolls are housed in the Shrine of the Book, a special pavilion of the Israel Museum the Australian delegation visited when in Jerusalem. Masada, Ein Gedi, Qumran, these all border the uniquely beautiful Dead Sea, and the Australian legislators were easily persuaded to visit its shores. The Dead Sea is the lowest spot on Earth. The site of biblical Sodom and Gomorrah, it is the salty death of the River Jordan's fresh waters. For the state of Israel, the Dead Sea is not only a major tourist attraction, it is also the greatest concentration of exploitable natural resources, with its rich variety of minerals. While most of the rest of Israel was shivering in the grip of a cold, rainy winter, the Dead Sea was warm enough to invite bathing. But first, the braver of the Australians decided to try out the famous Dead Sea black mud, known for its therapeutic qualities for an assortment of health problems, and a relaxing combination when mixed with the Dead Sea's warm waters. And then, like all other tourists who come to the Dead Sea, they decided to test out the legend of the extraordinary buoyancy of the Dead Sea's salty waters.
Hands up, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Hands up, Smithy. Hands up. Sharp, hands up.
So you like it?
Ah,
Lovely.
Not too bad.
Tastes beautiful.
I don't think I drink a lot.
It stings a bit.
That was just brilliant. I've never done sort of backstroke backwards or forwards. Whose glasses? I've got
someone's towels
6
here.
cameras,
I'll use it.
35 rings.
Is that it?
Well, it's just the most remarkable place. I mean, it's such a small country, and we've only been here 5 days, and yet we've managed to see so much. I mean, we've been from the Dead Sea, we've been right through to the Lebanese border, we've been through Jerusalem, we've been through Jericho and down to Capernaum. It's really been a most comprehensive tour, and I think that's been very important. Trips like this for members of Parliament are very much part of the learning process, and I guess we can read the reports and the intelligence reports and the newspaper reports and everything else that might come to our home countries, but it's not really until you get here and experience the place, get a smell of the place, get a feel of the place, to find out what it's all about. And I think we've had a very good opportunity over these last few days to do that. Not that you become an expert on Israel in 4 or 5 days.